Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Carmina and today we are going to continue our series of investigating, or better said, feeling the 52 cards of the playing card deck. And if you've been looking at the previous videos, you know that the sequence that we are looking at these cards is nothing more, nothing less than the year sequence. So we look at the daily cards. Today is an Eight of Hearts day. Other Eight of Hearts days in the year are August 31st, September 29th, October 27th, November 25th, which is today, and December 23rd. Of course, after sunrise in the place of your birth. Yesterday we were talking about the Nine of Hearts and the divine love, the divine friendship with everything, the final surrender and relief that is designed by the Nine of Hearts. And now we're going a little back. We're going a step back to a necessary step in the evolution towards this Nine of Hearts. And this step is, of course, the Eight of Hearts. Number 8 corresponds in astrology to the North Node, because the North Node is the 8th Graha. It's not a real planet, it's just a point. This North Node is the head of the body that mythologically was a demon or a giant, a very intelligent demon or giant who intertwined between the devas, the gods, to have a sip of the nectar of immortality. He got a sip of the nectar, so although he was sliced in half by Vishnu's discus chakra, after Vishnu realized that he was disguising himself as a god to get the nectar of immortality, he still managed to swallow that nectar and become immortal. Although it's split in half, its purpose is the same. Its purpose is to guide the person on their life path. We were talking yesterday about the South Node, which is corresponding to the 9, and that is the ultimate goal, like returning and accepting yourself. But before that, before you get to that divine friendship, you have to have a friendship with yourself, and that is where the number 8 comes. At number 8, it's all about self-fulfillment and getting over the victimization that you can feel and just becoming self-sufficient, in this case emotionally self-sufficient, because it's an Eight of Hearts. In the ancient Hindu text, they say that the North Node grants wishes and the South Node grants blessings. So the North Node, the number 8, has a more worldly connotation. That's why the Eight of Hearts is seen in readings. It can indicate marriage. This Eight of Hearts can grant worldly wishes, but only after the person gets over the victimization that happens at the Seven of Hearts. And it's really interesting because, of course, the natural sequence is Six of Hearts, Seven of Hearts, Eight of Hearts, Nine of Hearts, but the underlying and overlying cards for the Eight of Hearts, the underlying card is the Seven of Spades, and the overlying card is the Seven of Hearts. So that's really interesting, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Before that, I just wanted to also make the correspondence with the Major Arcana in Tarot, because yesterday when we talked about the Nine of Hearts, I don't think I mentioned that the red nines correspond to the Fool in the Major Arcana. And the red 8s, so the Eight of Hearts and the Eight of Diamonds, they correspond to the Hanged Man. So what is the Hanged Man? It's just being in suspense to fate, just hanging there, not being in control, being there in a state of sort of meditation, but it's not really meditation because it's a hanged man, so it's hanging reverse, it's hanging by the foot. It's some sort of forced time off. All the 8s are going inward. It comes after the 7, after we realize that if we victimize ourselves and we don't let go of the patterns that aren't working, then we can't move forward. So always the eights are a card of introspection, of going inward. But at the Eight of Hearts, the person just feels that they are self-sufficient, and then they can be in a state of friendship with themselves and of course with other people, and then at the night ultimately with the world. The Eight of Hearts evolves from the Seven of Spades. Seven of Spades is just reaching a limit with yourself, with your body, because spades always relate to the body, to the physical body, but also to the psychological state. So the seven there is like you hit a wall, you reached an impasse, things aren't working out anymore, like you have to get rid of behaviors that aren't working. And then the Eight of Hearts naturally evolves into the Seven of Hearts. That seems a bit counterintuitive, right? Because the Seven of Hearts is the natural progression before the Eight of Hearts, but it's also something that the card naturally aspires to become. So the person, after being self-fulfilled, probably then goes back to the Seven of Hearts to challenge their ego even more, so that they become even less emotionally reliant on other people's validation and even less needy and clingy of emotional things from other people. So it's always a training ground for this Eight of Hearts. Very self-sufficient, self-appreciating card. Of course, the eights are connected also to the King cards, because the King contain within them the 7, the 8, and the 9. So it's a higher state of evolution. It's being self-fulfilled, and between these two sevens you can never take a break, take a step back. Like these two sevens are always testing your limits, always testing your ego, because the seven, of course, we'll see that is related to Saturn. So there's always a letting go element, a letting go of the self, the Seven of Spades, and the letting go of emotional validation, which is the Seven of Hearts. Of course, if the Eight of Hearts is reversed in a spread, or it's in an unfavorable position, or in the cards of truth spread, it's with like a bunch of malefics, it can mean that the person is stuck and they need to take a step back to the seven and let go of that victimization and just feel their inner emotional worth without need for egotistic validation. These are, of course, just a few interpretations. Please feel free to meditate on the card, to look at the card on that day, to feel the energy of that day, and find more interpretations. And if you like the cards presented in this video, I will link below how you can get yourself a deck. I will see you again tomorrow with another card, and it's gonna be a nice ripe Seven of Hearts. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.